Okay, just because it's nearly Halloween, Dave, really, because it's the most wonderful time of the year, isn't it? As they say in the song. I prefer it to Christmas. Yeah, the food's better because you don't have to eat turkey, do you? So
Do you like turkey?
I like turkey, but I prefer it kebabbed in a Turkish way than sliced and then overcooked.
I quite like turkey.
It's nice if it's moist. I like a moist turkey.
Yeah, Chatwin's turkey back.
Oh, yeah, well,
that's another story.
I'd rather eat You see, I hate roast dinner.
Really?
And I would rather have a turkey back than a turkey roast. Yeah, it's a childhood thing. I get too many of them.
Wow. Happens there.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Oh, well, anyway, Halloween for me, it's a great time of the year because I get to watch my favourite movies. I actually make a bit of a time, set some time aside and watch them. I'm never quite sure, though, which is my favourite. I've got two areas of horror movies which are my favourites. There's Hammer, which as a pre-teen I watched loads of because it was gory, it was quite sexy. But also as I got a bit older and I kind of went to art school and I started to be a little bit more refined in my tastes, I kind of went back to the old black and white Universals, really.
Monsters.
And films like Dracula, the original Lugosi Dracula, it's not just a good movie because it's a horror movie. It's actually one of the best films ever made.
Really?
Yeah. You listen to the soundtrack of it. They use classical music. The filming of it. It's based on a stage play. Lugosi's at his finest.
Yeah.
Because Lugosi, no pun intended, is a bit of a stiff, really. You know what I mean? And he's not the greatest modern actor. And he has that expressionist acting technique which suits Dracula. So for me, in my heart of hearts, the Dracula that I love most is Lugosi.
Not Plan 9 from Outer Space.
No. Well, actually, I don't object to that movie. I think that movie spawned a million garage kits, hasn't it?
It's fantastic.
I mean, come on.
Fantastic. George Johnson, fantastic.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
A vampire.
Yeah.
It's great. I mean, come on.
And that spaceship. The door was about this big, and then when you got in, it was like amazing film. If you haven't seen Plan 9 from Outer
Space,
check
you've got to see it. It's reputed to be the worst movie ever made, but I don't actually agree with that. There's plenty of worse movies.
All the Tombstones rock when Tor Johnson's running.
Just running through it.
Yeah.
Anyway, but that's a great diversion because that is Lugosi being Lugosi.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to love him. I mean, the Tim Burton film about the director of that. What was the director called?
Oh, crikey. You've got me now.
Yeah, but Tim Burton made a film with the director.
Yeah.
And he used some original to base the... Martin Landau played
Lugosi.
Yes, he
did. Yeah.
And he was superb. Martin Landau plays Lugosi.
Yeah.
And that scene when he talks to Lugosi in his bungalow, that's based on a real piece of film.
Brilliant.
And it is superb. It's heartbreaking.
No.
Of course, the other thing is the Dracula, though I respect most of all, is Christopher Lee, because Christopher Lee was everything everybody would want to be. He was a special operations in the war. He was basically a spy. He basically was even kind of an assassin in real life. There's this great story about Christopher Lee. I think Peter Jackson was talking about his character stabbing somebody in the back, and he was talking to the actor that was being killed, and he was explaining to the actor what noises he should make. And Christopher Lee says, no, that's not the noise that people make when you stab them in the back.
Do you know about Christopher Lee? One interesting thing.
Yeah. Later
on in his career, he hated signing Dracula for pictures.
I could imagine that.
And I've got a signed Christopher Lee picture.
Oh, have you? That's brilliant. So he was, in fact, he actually knew Ian Fleming, and some people say that Ian Fleming's model for James Bond was actually Christopher Lee.
Oh,
because Christopher Lee did all those things that James Bond did, and I know he played Scaramanga later on, didn't he? In Man with the Golden Gun.
Yeah.
But actually, it was weird because that knowing Christopher Lee. Fleming was in. I think he was in special operations with him, and so they knew each other.
Right.
So, and Christopher Lee was a young, handsome, sort of swarthy-looking guy, and he was everything that sort of Ian Fleming actually wanted to be. So that's where the Bond thing came from. So it's but it's true.
Now, bit of trivia there.
Bit of trivia, yeah. So I like this. It's Darren Harvey, is it?
Darren
Harvey. Yeah, it's a one. Half scale bust of Christopher Lee. Is it still making?
Yeah, definitely.
Still making it. Yeah. Now the reason I like this, I come into the studio and I look at the stuff, and this gets me. So I used to have a book on Hammer movies, and there's a photograph of Christopher Lee, and I think his eyes are red, aren't they?
That's it. Yeah.
His eyes are just blood red. And this just captures that look in that photograph.
He did a great job, didn't he?
He's done a great job. And if you look at the texture of the flesh and stuff like that, it's an absolutely brilliant thing. So I'm still torn between the original Lugosi Dracula and Christopher Lee. But as a person, Christopher Lee, much more fascinating. I mean,
yeah,
incredible.
Darren did a great job of
Did
that.
a great job of that.
It's half scale. He did go on, Darren did, to do me a Bela Lugosi Dracula as well, and a Karloff Frankenstein. And quite a few, to be honest, of me big stuff for the next bit that we're going to chat about in shortly. But yeah, he's done a fantastic job of that. Nice logo on the front. The thing I like about Darren's stuff is the fact that he incorporates the bass in quite nicely, so it kind of all blends in. So it looks like he's not just slapped a bass on it. No, he looks like
it's definitely integrated.
How do you feel about the logos at the front? I'm pretty cool with that.
I'm pretty cool with it myself. I like it.
Some people don't like it, but I think it's okay.
I like it because it gives it a kind of a Waxworks museum quality to it. You know, I
like it. I like it. I think it's good. Yeah, I mean, I like the way you put these on there. Yeah. Some people aren't so keen on having the names on it, but to me, it works. So
it works for me because I think it just is.
Finishes it off
nice. It just finishes it off nice, and it shows a little bit care's been taken.
Nice, love it.
Yeah, I like the idea you've got a little bit of space here for a cord, haven't you?
You have a bit of cord down there, yeah.
That's nice, yeah.
And when he did the Lugosi, he did like a little area here, like a little on the front of it, if you flip it round, and you could get, there was two little bits here that you could put two little candles on. You can
that's nice.
So they were quite nice. So yeah, it's a nice one. Did well for us, that one. Did well for that one. Really, really nice. I enjoyed
Beautiful
that
modelling
one.
on the hair.
Very good, very good. Like that one. Well done, Daz.
The other one that you're going to show a photograph of is my favourite Universal kit. Now, Universal and to an extent RKO made horror movies in the 30s and 40s, didn't they? Mm-hmm. And I think RKO sort of kind of went out of business before Universal. Universal's still going. But Universal are the people that basically created all the iconic monsters.
Frankenstein creature.
Frankenstein, the creature, the Bride of Frankenstein. The Wolfman, Lon Chaney, particularly one of my favourites because I always find the Wolfman, yeah, because Lon Chaney's such a likeable character, you know, that fights the idea of being a monster.
Yeah.
And you've got a Jaeger kit.
Originally the history behind this was there was a gentleman in the States, Danny, who owned Rebel Resin, and I chatted to him and I basically secured the rights to do this kit. It's a Jaeger piece, and it's the classic scene. I'll let you elaborate on that. And I basically purchased the rights to do it in the UK and Europe. So that kit is available through Killer Kits. It still is. It's a big piece. And then a guy called Troy Neymar in Shadow Creations, I'm pretty sure it is, in the US. He deals with the US version. So if you're watching this in the US, contact Troy. Europe, contact us. Just a footnote on that. I've recently acquired all of Rebel Resin stuff now, most of Rebel Resin stuff, and gradually we're working our way through doing that stuff. So Killer Kits is now the exclusive producers of the old Rebel stuff. What we're doing is remastering them and getting them back up to the former glory and putting them out there.
Yeah, I mean, Dave's going to put a photograph up of this, but it's Frankenstein meets the Wolfman, isn't it?
The iconic scene at the end.
Iconic scene at the end. You've got the Wolfman leaping onto the Frankenstein monster. Later on in the series of movies, they did Frankenstein meets the Wolfman, the Wolfman meets Dracula, House of Frankenstein, House of Dracula, where you get these like monster mash kind of things going on.
Not forgetting Abbott and Costello.
And plus, you also got them in Abbott and Costello. Now, the most famous Frankenstein, my movie trivia, I love a bit of movie trivia, is obviously
Karloff.
Boris Karloff, English actor, also known as William Pratt, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So Karloff is the definitive Frankenstein. But actually, I think he only played the Frankenstein monster in 2 movies, didn't he?
I think
in Bride of Frankenstein and Frankenstein itself, yeah? Now, remember, Frankenstein is not the monster, it's the professor.
Yeah.
And all the English teachers at school will be going, Frankenstein's not the monster, that's called the creature, whatever, right? Yeah. So we're just getting that right for any English teachers that are watching. But Lugosi also plays the Frankenstein's monster, as did Glenn Strange.
Yeah.
Now, Glenn Strange is quite a big guy. He was a cowboy actor.
Lugosi played him, didn't he? Lugosi played Frankenstein
Yeah,
as well.
I think in fact Frankenstein meets the Wolfman, it is the Lugosi Frankenstein, and that's the kind of thing, because we associate Lugosi with Dracula. We also associate him playing the Hunchback, and he was also in the Wolfman movies as one of the gypsies.
Yeah.
So I mean, Lugosi has done Dracula, he's done Frankenstein, he's done the Hunchback, and I don't think he's ever played a werewolf, but actually really in the original werewolf movie, I think he's the guy that actually gives Lon Chaney Jr. the bite that makes him into the Wolfman. So technically, Lugosi has been the Wolfman, not on screen, but definitely in the script. So that's a thing to think about. And
he never played the creature, your favourite.
Well, he never played the creature, no, which is my favourite. But I think when we look at Lugosi, we mentioned him earlier on, and he's what I love about Lugosi is he's an actor out of his time, because even when he played Dracula, his acting style was very expressionistic and very stagey. So people look at him, they think of him as quite wooden and stuff like that. But I still think it's the best portrayal of Dracula, because it's the most odd and strange. If you've been living in a castle for 500 years and sucking people's blood, and then you end up in Whitby, you'd look a little bit startled, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
So that's why I like his performance. Christopher Lee, of course, very dynamic Dracula, obviously colour right from the outset. So we've got that Kensington Gore kind of slightly sort of pop art kind of Dracula coming on with the red eyes and the fangs and the blood. And you never actually see Lugosi draw blood.
No.
He always puts his cape around in a very gentlemanly manner before he bites anybody. Whereas Christopher Lee is like right on the neck.
Full gore
on the neck.
Do you know my favourite Dracula?
It's mine as well, isn't it?
Gary Oldman.
Oh no, I thought you meant the movies. Oh,
Gary Oldman.
So you do think that Oldman is the best Dracula?
Oh, for me, I love him. I love that film. I think it's great. I
love the film, but the reason I love it is because
I like Gary Oldman. Full stop.
Coppola was trying to make a Hammer movie. With the sets and the models of the castle, all sort of like quite.
I just think he's a great actor. I think I've never seen him in a bad film. I might be wrong, but
he's a great actor.
Love it.
I'm going to say something controversial now about Dracula movies. My favourite Dracula movie, maybe not the best Dracula movie in the world, is Dracula AD 1970.
Not Love at First Bite.
Not Love at First Bite, no, definitely not. But Dracula AD 72, my judgment of Dracula is I prefer the movies based on who he gets to bite.
Right.
And in Dracula AD 1972, not only does he get to bite Caroline Munro, who is like probably one of the most beautiful Hammer actresses and Bond girls that ever went on the screen, so there's a bit of a connection between her and Christopher Lee again. Also, so I always just think, as a teenage boy, whoever he gets to bite makes the movie fantastic. So not only did he get to bite Caroline Munro, he also got to bite Stephanie Beacham.
Fantastic.
So there you go.
So they're your two Halloween pieces.
So there's two Halloween, my two Halloween recommendations. And I'm kind of old school when it comes to horror.
I'm a little bit different from you.
Yeah.
I accept and appreciate that stuff, but I'm kind of more the modern stuff, the 80s, your Lost Boys, your Michael Myers. Yeah. And I love the Bram Stoker Dracula, and I prefer the stuff like the slightly newer stuff. I do appreciate the old stuff, and you've got to turn it on, haven't you, Halloween? Put on Frankenstein versus Wolfman. You've got to have it. And Abbott and Costello, it's brilliant. Moment, isn't it? It's brilliant.
And you know what people say about it, that those movies where Abbott and Costello actually meet the monsters, they're brilliant movies. They are because the monsters are playing it straight, aren't they?
They are. They're not playing it for laughs.
Playing it straight.
I think from a kit perspective, our company do a lot of obviously horror related stuff, and we do tend to do more the modern stuff, the 80s, so Lost Boys, Michael Myers. I mean, the thing that gets me is I enjoy the Halloween stuff and the Friday the 13th films, but they're just guys in a mask.
Yeah,
but the collectors love them.
People
love them.
But
Michael Myers, it's
more. Yeah, but it's more frightening because modern monsters are people.
Yeah.
And because it's about confronting the fact that monsters are actual real people. I mean, the most famous example is Hitler. There is the worst monster that ever walked the earth. Whereas in the 1920s and 30s, we would kind of dress our monsters up as supernatural creatures because it's an easier, more palatable way of looking at a monster.
Yeah. But for us, when we do the horror conventions, the model side of things, the one that sells every time, which it surprises me, not that it's not a good sculpture, because it's a very, very good sculpture. Andy Copland's Michael Myers, it's just a guy in a Shatner mask, and they go nuts for it. Every time it's there, people buy it.
The thing is, you know, people would often can say that Shatner, a lot of what Shatner done is horrific, but it is actually Shatner's face, isn't it, on the Michael Myers? They just got it out of the studio lot, didn't they? They found this mask and he put it on. And there's a story where Shatner actually went out with his kids one year with a Michael Myers mask on himself. Now that is Shatner being self-effacing and very much Shatner.
What do you think then about the new breed of horror films and the new breed of like the genre that we're moving into the kit side, like the Trick or Treat Sam on Pennywise and The Ring and stuff like that? Is it something that floats your boat? Or
it is very much so that floats my boat, particularly Japanese stuff that's developed from Japanese horror, because you often get an American remake of a Japanese horror movie. The Japanese have a way of making horror almost commonplace. It's as though that their culture allows a certain amount of interaction between the supernatural and the actual world,
right?
Because their beliefs are that everything that's created has a spirit, like even a rock has a spirit. So if you look at, there's an animation called Spirited Away,
right,
which is Studio Ghibli, which is about this little girl that ends up going through into the spirit world, and she lives with all these demons and monsters, and they turn out to be really nice. And it's almost like there's a very thin barrier between the real world and the world of the supernatural, and that's what I like about the Japanese. It's almost like horror is commonplace. Like The Ring, when she crawls out of a TV set, great, that's as modern as horror can be, isn't it?
Have you seen Pan's Labyrinth?
I love Pan's Labyrinth. I think that's a superb. That's Guillermo del Toro, isn't it?
Yeah,
is that right? That is one of the most viscerally horrific films I've seen. I mean, when the most gruesome scene in it though is when the soldier, there's a soldier kills another person.
Check
and
that
it's
out,
very
guys.
graphic.
Check that out.
But the monsters themselves, are that particularly the demon with the eyes in his hands, that is just amazing.
And then he's sat there and he's asleep,
and he's like that, and then the eyes open.
Is he eating a? Does he eat
a
fairy in it?
Yeah, he eats a fairy. The fairies are floating around, but
I've got to watch it, guys.
It's a bit like the fairies that are in Hellboy.
Yes.
They're quite little vicious things, but he grabs one and he just chews on it.
Yeah. Oh,
and
it's
fantastic. That kind of almost visceral kind of feeling there.
It's kind of like a really dark fairy tale, isn't it?
It is a dark fairy tale, and I think that with the Universal monsters, you've got a very almost supernatural monster, but in a very real world setting. So all you're fighting is the monster, whereas in things like Pan's Labyrinth, you're kind of fighting your imagination at the same time. And your own psyche is almost against you when you're watching
it's Spanish. It's in Spanish.
It's Spanish. It's in Spanish.
But I mean, I'm terrible for subtitles. But within 5-10 minutes, you forget it's got subtitles.
You do.
You really do. Trust me on this. If you worry about subtitles, don't worry, because watch it, stick with it. After about 5-10 minutes, you're in. It's good, isn't it?
I also like movies like Troll Hunter. Have you seen Troll Hunter? It's great. It's about trolls really exist. There's a couple of Troll Hunter movies out there that you want to watch. They're very funny, but they're quite scary as well.
What about The Orphanage? Have you seen that?
I have seen The Orphanage, but that to me is more of a ghost story. And to me, The Orphanage, the ghost story nature of it, kind of takes me back to a kind of almost like a literary feel about it, because those kind of movies, they build up mood, don't they?
Yeah.
They build up menace through the direction, which is very admirable when it comes to direction.
It is. It's very good. So basically, guys, today we've gone through the classic stuff to the modern stuff. All these films that me and Bill have spoke about today are what gives us inspiration for the model kits that are out there. And the next one we'll talk about kits that are out there for them particular films. This is just a bit of an intro for you, get you in that spooky mood. Bill's going away for a few weeks now.
Yeah, that's right.
So once he's back, we'll go through. We'll put this up. We'll go through the bits and pieces for this and what kits are available from this. Again, thanks for supporting this show. We do appreciate it. We are aware that there are sound issues and obviously filming issues for the show. We just wanted to get it out there because it's a fairly new channel. The feedback's been really positive. Bill's been very well received. You guys, thanks for the kind comments. If there's anything else you want clarifying, let us know. We should have sorted it with Mike this time. And the reason behind the poster, I'll explain it to you.
This is. I'll go and get it, mate.
Go and get it.
I'll go and get it.
I ordered the poster. I ordered the poster many moons ago, and completely forgot about it. And when we were loading the van up on the Friday night, I was told by one of the guys that helped me, "Where's the poster?" And it hadn't arrived. So I went, flipping heck. I didn't say that. I said a few smells. So we basically had to take last year's poster. And then when I arrived back, we had a day off on the Monday after the show. I arrived back on the Tuesday, and my lovely neighbour next door gave me this. So it came on the Monday after the show. So I did try to organise it. It just didn't work.
Like I said earlier when Paul Fay was here, this is the 2023 poster, and I think Dave's going to use it at the 2024 show. We're going to make it a tradition. In fact, we might have all three of them out at the same time. So you can do a compare and contrast exercise then. Yeah. But believe me, it's in here.
So thanks very much.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, guys. Smash a like, subscribe to the channel. Lovely to see you all again. We hope we're keeping you entertained. We're enjoying it. Good luck for Bill on his holiday. Where are you going?
Oh, I'm not going on holiday this week. I'm going on holiday in 2 weeks' time. But
where are you going?
Next week, my sister's coming. But after that, we're going to Athens.
Oh.
And because I'm a grumpy old middle-aged man, we can't go to Athens in the summer because it's basically too hot for me, and I probably wouldn't be able to walk up the hill.
There you go.
But anyway,
take care, guys.
Bye.